Brad from La Jolla. Joe, you want to ask this question?
No, go ahead. You ask.
All right,
Yeah, 'cause
Brad.
Mike can't. Yeah, you ask that question.
We're both worried about that one word we can't pronounce. Brad from La Jolla wants to know, how do you fire an Armatix Smart System iP1 pistol? How do you fire an Armatix Smart System iP1 pistol? That's ARMATIX. Armatix Smart System iP1 pistol.
Okay, so this is referring to a smart gun system, which very briefly is a firearm that's designed with some sort of built-in electronic component to verify the user before it can be used, like how you have a password for your computer, hopefully. Now, I'm not too terribly familiar with smart gun systems because not a lot of them have made it to production. But as I recall, the Armatix uses an RFID chip in a wristband. And when you have the wristband, it might be a ring, but I think it's a wristband. And when you have the wristband close to it, then it unlocks the pistol and can be fired. Am I correct there?
You're exactly right. The pistol won't fire unless a radio signal watch or wristband. I think they actually have both. I remember a ring and anyway, some kind of piece of jewelry located within 40 centimeters of the pistol. It has to be within 40 centimeters of the pistol, and the watch won't activate unless a fingerprint and PIN code are entered into it. So basically, you got to put on this watch or this wristband. I don't even know if is it a real watch or is it just kind of hang out on your wrist? Does it actually tell time?
I don't know.
I don't know either. So you have this wristband, and you have to
Activate it.
Have it. You have to wear it, and then you have to activate it with your fingerprint, and then put a PIN code in, and then as long as your wrist isn't 40 centimeters away from your pistol, your pistol will fire.
And good news, it does tell time.
40 centimeters, by the way, is roughly 16 inches, I believe, if I did that mental math correctly. Now, smart guns, part of the reason they haven't seen widespread production and use is because electronic systems are notoriously insecure and traditionally very technologically conservative gun people are kind of afraid of having basically guns that can be hacked or guns that might not always work when you want them to because, electronics aren't 100% reliable. And given how close you are there to an office for, what is it, Broadcom or Qualcomm? One of those chip makers, probably anyone who works in sort of integrated circuit design or any sort of electronic-related field listening right now is probably going, what, you want to put computers in guns? No.
Yeah, really. So was this its own pistol? Do you remember this, or was this this get adapted to a pistol, or was it its own standalone pistol?
It was its own standalone device.
So now you have to worry about
firearms that have actually been retrofitted outside of probably someone experimenting in their basement or garage or whatever. I don't think any firearms have really been retrofitted into smart guns, except Remington 700s that used special laser-ignited primers, but I don't really count those. It's kind of difficult to shove more technology into a package that small than it is to just redesign the thing from the ground up.
So, Dave, not only do you have to worry about wearing this watch all the time, if somebody breaks in, you have to worry about the actual, the fingerprint system working.
Or better than that, what's my code?
Then you got to remember the code in the middle of the night.
There's probably a million reasons why this is a terrible idea, but one of the real obvious ones is, we train shooting primary hand, shooting support hand. So if something happens to your primary hand, you switch the gun over. If your wristband is on that primary hand and that hand's more than 40 centimeters away from the gun, it's not firing.
Or what if you're in the shower? You can't be in the shower with your wristband, and that's a way.
I didn't shower with my gun either.
Yeah, you do.
You don't have a shower gun?
Shower holster.
Who doesn't have a shower gun? Well, but the thing is, now this is the gun you have to pick. I mean, I can't use my Glock. Think of how possessive you
Sounds
are
like
of
a
your
gun
guns.
the government would make.
Yeah.
Does this gun come with a microstamp?
Yeah, exactly. Does it come with a microstamp?
Won't be on our roster.
Is it reliable? Is it something I'd even want to use? The whole thing stinks.
People are already cagey about new firearms released by companies with little experience in firearm manufacturing, let alone when they use some kind of new and unproven technique. Can I find magazines? Can I find parts? Can I find someone to service it? If it fails, is it something that I take to an armorer or a gunsmith, or is it an IC that got desoldered from its ball grid array, and I need to take it to like an electronics repair store
or a computer repairman,
or like Apple Watch.
You can take it to the Apple store.
You turn it off and turn it back on.
It is called an iP1 pistol, which sounds very Apple-y, but
Yeah,
I don't think it
sounds
was.
Apple-y.
I don't think it was an Apple product. Okay, you got that. Excellent job. Now we're going to go for the
bonus course,
the
or
bonus round.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you broke your 2-week streak of being stumped. So Brad from La Jolla, you get a hat or a T-shirt, but you do not get a front side membership. Okay, so I have 3 terms here that I want you to define and talk about. They're actually fairly common in the gun world, but I'll bet you a lot of people don't really know all about them or what they mean, that sort of thing. So I thought we'd have you define them. The first one is FUD. What is FUD?
Now you're getting into slang, which is a lot of fun, especially for someone who works in a gun store. A FUD, first of all, comes from Elmer Fudd, the Looney Tunes character.
Right.
Famous for being a hunter walking around clumsily handling his shotgun. A FUD is someone, usually but not always, an older person who's kind of disdainful of newer type firearms and kind of takes the attitude of, oh, well, I'm fine with my bolt-action rifle. They're never going to come for that. Well, yes, they are. People who sort of look down their noses at other types of firearms and other types of firearm owners are just sort of harming the whole community. You have to be a little more inclusive than that instead of gatekeeping out basically anything invented after 1950.
Well, so it does. It's a derogatory kind of a poking fun at kind of the old school gun guys who don't really know what's going on in the modern Second Amendment world. But it also stands for something. Did you know that?
No, I'm not aware of it having been backronymed into anything. What is it?
Backronymed. It's exactly what they did. It also stands for fear, uncertainty, doubt, and disinformation. It's fear, uncertainty, doubt, and disinformation. So whenever you talk,
so we're talking disinformation, like, oh, a 22 is the most lethal round because it bounces around inside your body.
Right? Exactly. That's something. That's FUD. That's something a FUD would say, and that would be described as FUD. So whenever you hear somebody, talk about how, like, look, if, just get a revolver, they never jam,
all right, FUD.
That's
Thanks.
a FUD. Yeah, and you hear someone describe it as a FUD. Okay, LARP. What's a LARP?
Stands for live action role play. Comes from people who would go to like Renaissance fairs and dress up in period costumes and fight each other or whatever. Used in the gun community to refer to people who blow lots and lots of money on gear because they want to look cool.
Yeah.
And they think it makes them cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I used to be a LARP. I went to Renaissance fairs for years, dressed as a king.
This is like somebody that's got like all this, military getup, and they just go down to the range, and it's they call them LARPs. It's a kind of a not so harsh but derogatory term. Okay, here's the last one. This one's pretty interesting. The term loophole. We use the term loophole, or at least the anti-gunners use the term loophole a lot to describe gun laws, that sort of thing. But where did that actually originate from? What's the origin of loophole?
Loophole comes from medieval fortification building. If you look at the crenellations on castles, you'll see these rectangular slits or cross-shaped slits called arrow loops,
Yep.
Which are used to fire down on attacking forces by archers.
And it was basically considered a huge advantage and kind of not fair that these archers got to shoot through this. But that's why there's a loophole, like the gun show loophole. Excellent job, Sam. Fantastic as always.
Thanks for having me on. Lots of fun stuff to talk about tonight.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.